me your answer too. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage. Hello, Cubanwriter here with my wife Darklingfae.
Hello.
Here to review the 4th episode of Iron Fist, which I've got to say continues the trend of being the best episode so far.
I begrudgingly say it was the better episodes out of the ones that we've seen. But you have to admit, it did start pretty low. They started the bar pretty low.
Yeah, I want to say maybe it's going to have the opposite arc to Luke Cage, which started pretty good and then got bad by the end. Maybe this started bad and it will get awesome.
Yeah, but I feel like the problem with that is that, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people will end up watching this, even if it ends up at the end being awesome, because of how poorly the first 2 episodes were, that I think people are just like, no.
It might suffer a lot of viewership for that reason. But let me tell you why you should probably start watching the series here. Is because in this one, he actually has solved all of the issues he has about bringing himself into society and getting himself back to his corporation. All of that drama has finally ended, and the plot can actually begin, and it has begun. I feel in earnest.
Yeah, I'll have to see what the other ones are. I don't know if I'd start here or maybe some later episodes. We'll have to see. But I will say the one thing about this episode I liked was we got to see a little bit of the hand.
Yeah.
And we got to see the head of the hand. And I wish we would see more of that. I would actually love a show and a series on the hand.
Well, I was hoping this would be, and maybe it will still be, the show about the hand.
I don't think it's ever going to be that, if that makes sense. But I have to say that the little snippets that you get of Lady Gao really does pique your interest. Even though she hardly has any airtime at all, you're just like, no, bring her back. I want more of her. So I would actually love to see an entire series on her in the hand. I think that would be actually pretty awesome. Just a whole villain series. Why all heroes?
Well, she might be the kind of character that's most interesting when you don't see a lot of her, because it keeps the mystery.
That could be. It also could be, too, that part of the problem that this series does suffer from, I should say, is that the non-hand bad guys are pretty uninspired. So probably when you do get to see someone like Lady Gao in the hand, you get really excited because they're so much better than the other people that you have to kind of watch and sift through, and they're the bad ones, even though like everything they do is pretty inept, and you wonder how they were able to build a billionaire empire. I mean, really, with some of the things that they've come up with that they think are awesome to do. So I think that's probably why when we do get to see the hand, we want so much more of it and less of them.
Yeah, their stock standard villains are pretty inept. But, on the bright side, this episode had lots of violence, which is something I wanted from my martial arts show. It had a good cage fight with Colleen Wing, where she fought multiple opponents, and that was interesting to watch. I actually think her fight scene was better than Iron Fist's fight scene in the hallway against the people with hatchets.
I was going to say, I know that you feel like it was really action-packed just because there was more action. I do feel, though, that at least a good portion of the action was unsatisfying because it was poorly done. I don't like a lot of slow-mo action in these type of series, and that you really want to see something more high-paced, especially since the whole pacing of this series so far has already been super slow. I feel like the first 3 episodes, maybe even the 4, you could have combined to one whole episode with everything that happened, if that makes sense. I feel like everything's been so long and drawn out that when you get slow action, it doesn't help. Like, you really want to have a faster paced clip to this, And I guess why are all of his scenes so slowly done and hers I don't feel like that?
I do think that the actor who plays Iron Fist is probably not as good at fight choreography as the actress who plays Colleen Wing. And I'm beginning to think, and I'm beginning to become concerned, that the worst martial artist in this entire show might be the hero.
Oh, that's not going to be good.
I mean, story-wise, he's going to be supposed to be the best. But in reality, I think that actor is probably the one who's least good at his martial arts fights. But I do have hope. You see, Daredevil had a mask, right? So you could easily swap him out for his stunt double. I'm hoping that when Iron Fist gets his outfit, which includes something that partially covers the face, assuming they do what they did in the comic book, I'm hoping that when he gets that outfit, they'll be able to swap the actor out for a stuntman who can actually fight.
Yeah, I do hope they get better because I will say that for the most part, I haven't been as satisfied with the fight scenes as I would like to be. And I mean, like, honestly, Iron Fist is supposed to be a good martial artist. That's the person you really want to see the most of. I really would like to see Danny Rand be good at something for Pete's sakes. Like, he has to have some redeeming quality to make me want to root for him. And so far, even up to episode 4, even though it was the better episode, sorry, that's my cat, I'm still not really rooting for him. It's really hard to get emotionally invested into his character.
Well, I'm starting to get a little more interested in him, if only because of the people around him. I did think that there were a few missteps in this episode. Having the Junior Meacham be the one that kicked him off the building really doesn't do any favors for Danny Rand's martial arts prowess that's supposed to be so high in this episode or in the series.
That's the problem that they do with this character, though. Even though he's supposed to be this really great martial artist, he was supposed to have been able to be so good that, at least in this story, he really studied for years and years and had to work really hard and had to prove to everyone that he, was so good that he should be the chosen one. But every time he's in any kind of fighting situation or they show him somehow, he's not that good. The whole scene with I had an issue with the scene. Sorry, I'm getting attacked by cats. Multiple cats.
Intermission.
Yes. This scene at the hospital where someone gets the take on him. He doesn't understand he's in a dangerous situation. The bad people who aren't the Hand, by the way, spoiler, knock on his door to give him trouble. And he opens the door and he doesn't even sense any, he doesn't even try and make sure that, why people are knocking on his door when he's not ordered any food or anything and no one knows where he lives and the only other person that might know where he is with him at the time. He's not suspicious of this at all. And I just think for someone who's supposed to be so good at fighting, he would have those kind of instincts where people can't get the drop on you. And the people that are getting the drop on him aren't even the Hand. They're not even so far well-trained henchmen. They're not even, you haven't even seen these be they've been in the military and all this stuff. And I mean, they're just average Joes that you just can probably get off the street corner and he can't even figure out that. So it's so disappointing. I want him to be so much better than he is.
It's true.
Netflix, help me out here. Make him a better hero.
There is a superhero called One Punch Man, and I feel like Iron Fist could be named Sucker Punch Man because he gets sucker punched a lot and surprised and sucker kicked and whatever. Now, the second thing that really bothered me was when he started to fall off the building, he caught himself on this protrusion.
Oh, yeah.
And then he apparently couldn't pull himself up.
Spoilers.
And I was thinking, in all of the 15 years of training that you had with monks, did they not teach you how to do a pull-up?
Nope.
And finally,
not part of the training.
Finally, Colleen Wing, who has been a martial artist for presumably a long time to be teaching a martial arts at her studio, she did not know how to fix her own finger.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange too. I broke my toe when I was able to set my own toe, and she was like, "Oh, my finger's been bent. I don't know what to do. I'll just hobble around with my broken up finger." And I'm like, "Well, what? Wouldn't you be able to just snap that back into place or bandage it or make a little homemade splint?" Can't imagine in all of her fighting history she's never been hurt
Well, and
or
then if she
injured.
didn't know how to fix it, why didn't she visit an emergency room and have it fixed there?
Well,
Why would you not know how to fix it and also go home?
Well, now I'm going to get political here, so sorry, guys. But probably because in this world Obamacare was repealed, she doesn't have insurance, so she probably can't afford a hospital visit, an ER visit. Apparently, they don't have any kind of street doctors that she knows about, even though she does cage fighting. She doesn't know of anyone who can help do first aid. But thank goodness, Danny Rand, our hero, came to save her finger day.
And you said there was nothing he was good at.
No, that's true. I guess maybe in all of his training he got hurt, which he did seem to say that he had set a bone or two. So makes sense.
Well, I hope, speaking of setting a bone, I hope we get an interesting romance before the series is over, because that added a little something to Daredevil, that he had little romances. And so I hope he gets to set a bone with someone else.
I'm not encouraging that at all. I know better. I will say the one thing that I was kind of the little hints that have happened, and I hate to say this because I really don't like some of these characters. I will have to say Ward, the son, Meacham, you call him Meacham Jr., Ward. It is kind of nice that you get to see some flashes, little here and there, of some humanity with him, where you feel like in different circumstances he might have been a decent person, but unfortunately, who his parents are and that kind of birthright. I did think it was kind of nice. He gave him some good advice, even though Danny Rand won't take it. He's like, yeah, don't believe anything he says. Don't make my dad your
father figure.
Your father figure, or like a stand-in for your own. Like, he's only out for himself. Like, he does. There are little glimpses here and there where he really is not happy with where he's at, but you totally know he's not going to do anything about it. He's just going to stick with it.
I have a theory about Meacham Jr.
Yeah?
Okay? Right now I'm considering it a flaw that he was able to sucker kick Danny Rand.
Oh.
But I have a theory
Okay.
that maybe it's not a flaw after all. And my theory is that Meacham Jr. is actually a trained martial artist, is probably working with the Hand, which is why the Hand allowed him to know that his father was alive and not the sister. And maybe his attempt to have Danny Rand killed originally was to help the Hand, since he was supposed to be an enemy of the Hand. So I have a lot of theories going on about Meacham Jr. that might make him more interesting, and that is essentially that he's working with the enemy.
I would like to think there are more interesting things for Ward to do. I just don't know if the writers are that sophisticated to think about different things like that. So we'll have to wait to see what happens. I would like something to have like a more interesting plot to it. I just don't know, and it's really hard to get a little hope up, especially when you still have those first couple of episodes that you had to sit through. So it's the same writers, so I'm still kind of holding out some doubt. But I will say it's getting better. It's not, I mean, it definitely, I don't think it would have lasted this long if all the episodes were like the first couple. I mean, I'll be honest there. So it is getting better. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
Well, here's hoping that episode 5 continues the trend and that it just keeps getting better and better. This will be Cubanwriter signing out.
Goodbye, darling.
See you next time.
But you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due. I'm half crazy, all for the love.